Here we are, end of June 2025, and we're going to take a look at what's gone on in the market here the past 30 days. Since I gave our last market update in May, we're going to compare the end of May to the end of June here in the great town of West Hartford, Connecticut. Now, before I dive in, if you're curious how your home values change, you want to take a closer look, drop a comment below and I'll send you a free home valuation link. This is a link that will allow you to check in monthly to compare to see if your home is in line with the market. And as always, if you want something more precise, more accurate, I get calls, texts, emails all the time from people watching these videos. My team and I, we are always happy to help. So bear with me. As you can hear, I'm losing my voice today, but I am committed to keeping everybody updated with what's going on in the marketplace. So first thing I want to look at is total inventory here in West Hartford. Single family homes, how many are currently on the market? Now, it's actually gone up a little bit compared to last month. There are 36 homes for single family in West Hartford right now. If we compare that to end of May, last time I did this update, there was only 24 homes on the market. So still low historically speaking, but I mean, that's gone up about 33% in terms of inventory. Now, part of that is weather related in the Northeast. You know, we had a rainy, nasty spring, and that kept a lot of sellers on the sideline. A lot of sellers mentally, they don't want people traipsing through the home. They want to make sure it looks nice out for photos. Whether that's right or wrong, I'm not going to discuss here. I got some data to support the opposite if you ever want to talk about it. But that's the psychology of a lot of sellers, so we have to acknowledge that. So now that the sun is out, the sellers are coming out of the woodwork. So a little later than normal, we're starting to see that spring rush, but it makes sense based on the weather. So next thing I want to look at, closed sales in the past 30 days. There were 60 single-family homes that sold. Not went under contract, actually sold. Because we all know that, a certain percentage of the time when a home goes under contract, the deal will fall apart. So we want to always look at real closed data here. Now, comparing that to the last month's 30-day segment, there was 50 closing. So what's interesting here, we have an extra 12 homes that came on the market to choose from this month, but we also had 10 more closings. So you can see it's really still a strong ratio in terms of sellers to buyers. We have almost twice as many buyers as sellers in the marketplace. And whenever we have that type of data, it is a strong seller's market, even if we're even if you have the same number of buyers and sellers in the marketplace. That is a very strong seller's market. So that gives you a little idea of what is still going on here in West Hartford. Now, median days on market, we're seeing a little bit of a change here, just very drastically. The median days on market went down to 4. It was at 4.5 last month. So minuscule, but still something we want to monitor and see if this is a trend that starts to go back the other way or if it just ebbs and flows. My guess, it's probably just going to ebb and flow. I don't think there's any market conditions that would have this all of a sudden start to plummet. If anything, it may start to go in the other direction. List to sales price ratio. Now, this one was interesting to me. Last month, we talked about it being at 107%. This month, we're at 110% list to sale price ratio. So that actually went up, which means the offer situations have been more competitive and it's drove the price up even higher over asking. Again, this can be weather related. Now that the sun's out, we do have more people that are out there feeling comfortable about shopping, getting outside, spending money, moving in on their house. So this number doesn't surprise me either that it's trended up. I don't anticipate it getting too much higher than this. We floated between 105 and 112 for this list to sales price ratio the past couple of years. But as always, we will take a look and monitor each month to see if we can see any trends here as well. Last one I want to look at, and this is this is really an important one. And this is one of the reasons why you may want to dive in and ask me for that home valuation link. Drop a comment below. Because you'll see month to month, the market fluctuates. It's similar to a stock. When you own a stock, it doesn't just do this. It doesn't just do this, right? There's these ebbs and flows, right? Now, depending on where you're at in your life, this may or may not matter to your home value. But if you're someone who is planning a move, this is something you want to be aware of and understand that, just because your neighbor sold for X 2 months ago doesn't mean you sell for X here. You might be higher or you might be lower, right? So let me show you what I mean. Median sales price over the past 30 days. Last month, it was $562,000. This month, it's $607,500. So, you're talking about almost $50,000 an increase in median sales price. Again, this will fluctuate month to month. It's not something that means all of a sudden the market's going to skyrocket. It could, but it's something we need to monitor bigger picture as again, it is normal to see these little micro ups and downs and fluctuations as we go. So here, as the weather gets nicer into the summer before the school year starts in the fall, it'll be interesting to track if this kind of picks up and continues because of our late start with all the rain and the bad weather, or if it settles back down into a little bit of a summer rut, which, by the way, that's a real thing. That could sometimes happen, right? People start going on vacation and traveling, and now all of a sudden they're not thinking about buying their home or listing their home, right? So sometimes the market could actually slow in the summer. So the only thing that tells us that is not guessing. It's not my opinion. The only thing that tells us that is the data, is the numbers. This is why, honestly, I study the numbers every day. And it's why I believe, I know many people don't want to hear me talking about numbers for 10, 15 minutes, but it's one of the reasons I believe it's very important as a local realtor to share this with you, my audience, people here in town, to keep you updated, because it is that important to look at the numbers when you're starting to plan out this process. So, as always, don't be shy. If you have questions on any of this, call, text, email. We get questions all the time from people watching these videos. If you want that home value link so you can kind of monitor your progress each month, home valuation link, it's quick, it's easy. I'm not going to call you. It's something you can do, on your own. Just drop a comment below and I'll send it to you quickly. Hope this helps.